A young person can earn straight A's and still be completely unprepared to manage money. They can be extremely talented and still lack discipline. They can know exactly what career they want and still have no idea what education, training, experience, or preparation it'll take to even reach that goal. They can win awards, earn scholarships, hold leadership positions, and look successful on paper, but still be unprepared for life. Now, none of those achievements are bad. We want young people to make strong grades. We want them to develop their talents, earn opportunities, and accomplish meaningful goals. But one visible area of success doesn't automatically prove that the whole person is prepared. So what must we actually develop if we're serious about raising a scholar? That's exactly what we're breaking down in today's episode. Welcome to Raising Scholars, a podcast dedicated to developing scholars by building discipline, habits, skills, and lifelong growth. We define a scholar as someone who is actively trying to grow by educating themselves and developing the habits, discipline, and skills needed for life. I'm Terrell, Scriber, and in today's episode, we're talking about the 6 pillars of raising scholars. In episode 1, we answered the question, what is a scholar? We established that a scholar is more than a student with good grades. Scholar identity is demonstrated through growth, education, habits, discipline, skill development, and preparation for life. But once we define the scholar, the next question becomes, what exactly are we trying to develop? Because saying we want to raise prepared, responsible, and capable young people sounds really good. But without a practical structure behind that statement, it can remain nothing more than inspiration. That's where the 6 pillars come in. These pillars give parents, scholars, educators, mentors, coaches, and community leaders a practical way to look at the whole person, not just the report card, not just the talent, the whole person. The first main idea is this: raising a scholar requires whole person development. A scholar isn't a collection of disconnected parts. Academic success matters, but complete preparation also requires the ability to manage yourself, learn effectively, protect your wellness, act with character, handle real-life decisions, and prepare for future opportunities. That doesn't mean every scholar has to be equally strong in every single area. It doesn't mean parents need to start overloading children with more activities, more programs, and more pressure. And it definitely doesn't mean someone has to become perfect in all 6 areas before we even consider them a scholar. Whole person development simply means we pay attention to the complete picture. A student may make excellent grades but have no idea how to budget money. Another student may be disciplined in athletics but completely disorganized academically. Somebody can hold a leadership title in public but avoid responsibility in private. And a student may know exactly what career they want while having no idea what the career actually requires. That's why visible success in one area can't become the only measurement we use. The 6 pillars aren't designed to tell us whether a young person is worthy. They help us define what the young person may need to develop next. Research on adolescent development supports the idea that young people are developing across multiple areas at the exact same time. They're learning how to make decisions, manage responsibility, form an identity, build relationships, protect their health, and prepare for future opportunities. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not saying science has proven that the Raising Scholars 6-pillar framework is the only correct model for raising young people. It hasn't. The 6 pillars are the official Raising Scholars framework. Research helps support why the areas inside those pillars matter, but the framework itself is how this platform organizes whole person development. And each of those pillars has its own question. The first question is, can the scholar manage themselves? The second is, can the scholar learn effectively? The third is, can the scholar function and perform well? The fourth is, who is the scholar becoming? The fifth is, can the scholar handle real-life decisions? And the sixth is, does the scholar understand their options and how to prepare? You don't have to memorize every pillar or every question during this episode. Just listen closely and pay attention to which question makes you stop and think. That question may reveal the area that needs more attention right now. We're going to begin with the first 2 pillars because they develop a scholar's ability to manage themselves and learn effectively. The first pillar is discipline, habits, and mindset. The question connected to this pillar is, can the scholar manage themselves? Discipline is preparation. It isn't simply punishment. When a lot of people hear the word discipline, they immediately think of consequences, correction, or somebody getting in trouble. But discipline is much larger than that. Discipline is a structure that helps a person do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like doing it. It involves managing time, following routines, staying focused, taking responsibility, controlling impulses, and recovering after setbacks. And young people aren't born knowing how to do all of those things. Those skills have to be taught, modeled, practiced, and strengthened over time. A student may say, I want to improve my grades. That's a good goal. But Pillar 1 asks, do you have a routine? Do you know when your work is going to be completed? Can you put your phone away long enough to focus? Do you prepare your materials before you need them? And do you follow through after making the plan? A lot of young people don't need another speech about how they should be more motivated. They need somebody to help them build a routine that actually works. They may need reminders at first. They may need their environment changed. They may need accommodations, stronger structure, or professional support. Difficulty with organization shouldn't automatically be treated as a character defect. A student dealing with ADHD, disabilities, stress, trauma, or instability may need different systems and additional support. That doesn't mean we remove the responsibility. It means we teach and support the scholar in a way that gives them a real opportunity to develop responsibility. Discipline shouldn't be reduced to obedience, punishment, shame, or willpower alone. Discipline is preparation for freedom, responsibility, and independence. But discipline by itself isn't enough. A student can sit at a desk for 2 hours and still use a strategy that doesn't actually help them learn. That takes us to the second pillar. The second pillar is academic success and learning skills. The question connected to this pillar is, can the scholar learn effectively? This pillar is larger than grades. Grades are important, but the pillar focuses on how to learn. Can the scholar read with understanding? Can they write clearly, take useful notes, organize assignments, prepare for a test, use feedback, plan courses, and ask for help? Effort matters, but effort and strategy aren't the same thing. A student may spend hours rereading notes, highlighting pages, or staring at a study guide. They may genuinely believe they studied, but being familiar with the material isn't always the same thing as being able to remember, explain, and apply it. Research on learning strategies suggests that students often benefit from spreading their practice across several days, testing themselves without immediately looking at the answers, reviewing mistakes, and explaining ideas in their own words. That doesn't mean rereading, highlighting, and summarizing never helps. It means students need to understand that some strategies create stronger and more durable learning than others. Imagine 2 students preparing for the same test. The first student studies for 3 hours the night before. The second student studies for 30 minutes over several days, practices recalling the information, and reviews what they missed. The first student may have spent more time in one sitting, but the second student may have used a stronger overall process. This is why pillars 1 and 2 have to work together. Pillar 1 gives effort structure. Pillar 2 helps direct that effort effectively. Discipline gets the scholar to the table. Learning skills helps the scholar know what to do once they get there. A student may know how to study but lack discipline to follow the plan. Another student may work extremely hard but use a strategy that doesn't produce strong learning. Scholars need both. The first 2 pillars help scholars manage themselves and learn. But none of that works well when the scholar doesn't have the physical, mental, and emotional capacity to function. And that brings us to the middle 2 pillars. The third pillar is health, wellness, and performance. The question connected to this pillar is, can the scholar function and perform well? Scholars are whole people. They're not brains that can be separated from sleep, movement, nutrition, hydration, stress, emotional health, rest, and recovery. Wellness isn't a reward that comes after all the work is finished. Wellness supports the ability to do the work. Teenagers generally need around 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Regular, sufficient sleep is connected to attention, learning, memory, behavior, and emotional regulation. That doesn't mean sleep fixes every academic or behavior problem, but we can't consistently deprive young people of rest and then act surprised when they struggle to focus, remember information, regulate emotions, or perform at their best. A scholar may be talented and motivated, but still struggle because they're consistently exhausted or overwhelmed. A student may be participating in advanced classes, sports, clubs, volunteer work, and family responsibilities. Every individual activity may be valuable, but if the complete schedule leaves no time for sleep, recovery, or emotional balance, something eventually begins to suffer. Health and wellness aren't separate from academic development. They support academic development. And this pillar isn't about physical appearance. It isn't about creating one standard body type or telling young people that wellness makes them more valuable. It's about building the capacity to function, focus, recover, and perform. This is also an educational performance pillar, not individualized medical or mental health advice. If a young person is dealing with persistent insomnia, depression, severe anxiety, eating concerns, or another clinical issue, that situation requires qualified professional support. Health affects whether the scholar can perform. The fourth pillar asks, what kind of person is doing the performing? The fourth pillar is leadership, character, and purpose. The question connected to this pillar is, who is the scholar becoming? Achievement isn't the whole person. A young person can earn recognition and still need development in integrity, responsibility, communication, teamwork, humility, service, and purpose. Leadership isn't only holding an office. It isn't only being popular, speaking publicly, or being the person everybody notices. Leadership begins with self-leadership. Can the scholar keep commitments? Can they tell the truth when telling the truth may cost them something? Can they accept correction without blaming everybody else? Can they communicate respectfully, repair harm after making a mistake, and use their influence responsibly? A title can give somebody a position. It can't automatically give them character. Talent may create an opportunity, but character determines how you handle it. Purpose also matters because purpose gives disciplined direction. A young person is more likely to understand why present effort matters when that effort connects to something larger than immediate comfort, attention, or recognition. A student may say they want to become a doctor, engineer, teacher, entrepreneur, or service member. Pillar 4 asks, why do these goals matter? What responsibilities come with it? What kind of character will be required? And who will be affected by the way that person uses their skills? Purpose doesn't magically solve every motivational problem. A meaningful goal still requires strategy, instruction, support, and consistent action. But purpose can help a scholar understand why the work is worth doing. Pillar 3 supports the capacity to perform. Pillar 4 shapes how the capacity is used and who the scholar is becoming. The first 4 pillars develop the person. The final 2 help that person make adult decisions and prepare for future opportunities. The 5th pillar is financial literacy and life readiness. The question connected to this pillar is, can the scholar handle real life decisions? This pillar includes understanding how to track spending, create and follow a budget, save, use banking tools, build credit, reduce debt, and start and continue investing. It also includes understanding income, taxes, insurance, and how to make smarter everyday consumer decisions. A young person may graduate with strong grades and still be unprepared to read a pay stub, build a budget, understand credit, compare loan terms, or recognize the true cost of a purchase. This is a major gap in life preparation. Financial growth begins with understanding where your money is going. You track your spending so you can create a realistic budget. The budget helps you pay necessary expenses, make informed choices, and create room to save. Saving can help you prepare for emergencies, major purchases, education, housing, business goals, and other future needs. But building long-term wealth also requires learning how investing works. That may eventually include stocks, real estate, retirement accounts, Bitcoin, business ownership, or other assets. This episode isn't the place to recommend a specific investment or tell every person to use the same financial strategy. The purpose is to establish that investing belongs inside financial education. Saving protects money for future use. Investing gives money an opportunity to grow over time, while also introducing risks that need to be understood. Scholars need to learn how to compare choices, research risks, delay gratification, and understand that every financial decision has a consequence, whether good or bad. And notice how Pillar 5 connects back to Pillar 1. Money management requires planning, discipline, self-control, patience, and responsibility. Knowing what a budget is doesn't automatically mean someone will follow one. Financial knowledge has to become a financial behavior. That development should begin with age-appropriate opportunities to make decisions, practice budgeting, save money, compare choices, and experience manageable consequences. Managing real-life decisions matter, but young people also need to understand what opportunities exist and how to prepare for them. That brings us to Pillar 6. The sixth pillar is pathways and opportunities. The question connected to this pillar is, does the scholar understand their options and how to prepare? Exposure has to come before high-stake decisions. Young people are often asked, what do you want to do with your life? But many of them have only been exposed to a small number of careers and pathways. They may know what their parents do. They may know what they've seen on television or social media. They may know a few careers that schools regularly discuss, but they may not understand the full range of possibilities. Pathways can include four-year college, community college, trade school, military service, certifications, apprenticeships, entrepreneurship, public service, or direct employment. No pathway is automatically easier, cheaper, safer, more profitable, or better for every single scholar. Each option has requirements, cost, risk, benefits, and trade-offs. A scholar should learn to ask, what education or training does this pathway require? How much will it cost? How long will it take? What skills are needed? What opportunities exist? What are the risks and alternatives? And what should I begin doing now? Career exploration can help young people connect present school decisions to future opportunities. But only having one career presentation or one interest survey isn't enough. Scholars need repeated exposure, reliable information, planning conversations, mentorship, and opportunities to revise their plans as they learn more. The future should not be guessed. It should be researched, prepared for, and adjusted. Pillar 5 helps scholars handle the financial and practical decisions connected to a pathway. Pillar 6 helps scholars understand and prepare for the pathway itself. Now let's look at one goal and see what happens when all 6 pillars begin working together. Imagine a student named Jordan says, I want to become an engineer. That sounds like a clear goal, but the goal by itself isn't a plan. Jordan needs Pillar 1, discipline, habits, and mindset, to manage time, follow routines, complete challenging work, and recover after setbacks. Jordan needs Pillar 2, academic success and learning skills, to strengthen mathematics, reading, problem solving, studying, and help seeking. Jordan needs Pillar 3, health, wellness, and performance, to protect sleep, manage stress, maintain energy, and recover. Jordan needs Pillar 4, leadership, character, and purpose, to communicate, collaborate, act with integrity, accept responsibility, and understand why the work matters. Jordan needs Pillar 5, financial literacy and life readiness, to compare tuition, scholarships, debt, housing, transportation, and possible income. And Jordan needs Pillar 6, pathways and opportunities, to research universities, community college transfer options, military programs, internships, certifications, and related careers. The engineering goal may appear to belong mainly to Pillar 6, but Jordan won't reach that goal through career awareness alone and follow through required to pursue that goal responsibly. A goal may begin in one pillar, but reaching it usually requires growth across several. No pillar guarantees success. This framework helps us understand what preparation the goal requires. The pillars are separated for organization, but in real life, they interact. A student who isn't sleeping may struggle to focus. A student who lacks purpose may struggle to understand why discipline matters in the first place. A scholar who lacks financial knowledge may choose a pathway without fully understanding the cost. And somebody who knows exactly what career they want may still struggle to reach it if they lack the habits and learning skills required to prepare. So, how should parents, scholars, educators, and mentors use this framework without turning it into another overwhelming checklist? For parents, start by asking 2 questions. Which pillar receives the most attention in your own home? And which pillar receives the least? A family may spend a lot of time discussing grades while rarely discussing money. Another may constantly discuss college without helping the child research other pathways. Then ask, are we preparing our child only to perform in school, or are we also preparing them to function in life? Choose one realistic family action. Maybe you create a weekly planning routine. Maybe you protect sleep on school nights. Maybe you begin teaching a basic budget. Maybe you research one career pathway together. Or maybe you assign one age-appropriate responsibility and stop rescuing the child from every manageable consequence. Choose one action. Don't try to repair all 6 pillars in 1 week. For the scholars listening, the 6 pillars are 6 opportunities to grow. They aren't 6 accusations. You're not expected to be equally strong in every pillar. Identify your strongest pillar. Then identify the pillar currently creating the most friction. Maybe you have strong goals but weak routines. Maybe you're disciplined but don't know how to study effectively. Maybe you're academically successful but exhausted. Maybe you understand your career pathway but have never thought seriously about the cost. Choose one visible action you can complete this week. Follow a study plan, ask for help, protect your sleep, correct a responsibility issue, track your spending, or research one pathway. One visible action gives you evidence of growth. For educators and mentors, before labeling a scholar unmotivated, ask which pillar may be influencing the visible problem. Is the problem connected to self-management? Does the student lack an effective learning strategy? Is exhaustion or stress affecting performance? Is there a responsibility or character issue? Does the student lack practical life preparation? Or do they simply not understand what they're preparing for? Then provide one specific response. Teach a strategy, create structure, give useful feedback, provide accountability, offer exposure, connect the student to support, or give them the opportunity to revise and improve. The 6 pillars should help us coordinate support. They shouldn't be used to diagnose, shame, or permanently categorize young people. Before we close, I want to complete a simple 6-pillar scholar growth checkup. Review the 6 questions. Can I manage myself? Can I learn effectively? Can I function and perform well? Who am I becoming? Can I handle real-life decisions? Do I understand my options and how to prepare? Identify one area of strength, then identify one area that needs growth. Finally, choose one action to complete before the next episode. That's it. One strength, one growth need, one action. This checkup is a reflection tool. It's not a diagnosis. It isn't a measure of your worth. And it isn't a competition between students, siblings, or families. The goal is honest reflection, followed by practical action. All right, let's review the 5 main ideas. First, raising a scholar requires whole person development. Second, the first 2 pillars build self-management and learning capacity. Discipline helps the scholar manage themselves, and academic learning skills help them learn effectively. Third, the middle 2 pillars build performance capacity and personal character. Wellness supports the scholar's ability to function, while leadership, character, and purpose shape who the scholar is becoming. Fourth, the final 2 pillars prepare scholars for adult decisions and future opportunities. Financial literacy develops practical judgment, while pathway awareness helps scholars understand their options and prepare. And fifth, the 6 pillars work together. The 6 official Raising Scholar pillars are discipline, habits, and mindset, academic success and learning skills, health, wellness, and performance, leadership, character, and purpose, financial literacy and life readiness, and pathways and opportunities. The 6 pillars aren't 6 boxes to check. They're 6 areas of growth that help prepare a scholar for school, opportunity, responsibility, adulthood, and lifelong learning. Growth won't always be even. One pillar may need more attention during one season, while others become more important later. Being strong in one area doesn't eliminate the need for growth somewhere else. The goal is continued development, not perfection. On our next episode, we're going to discuss preparing children for adulthood, not just school. Until then, don't forget to complete the 6-pillar scholar growth checkup and identify one pillar you're going to strengthen before the next episode. If you found value in this episode, please like, follow, rate, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's raising, teaching, coaching, counseling, or mentoring young people. All right, I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, keep raising them.